Hey, Mega Moms, Jessica Hensley here with Real Estate Mega Moms, where we help moms create a life and a business that they love. And today I am joined by Christina Gentry. Hey, Christina.
Hey, how's it going?
Really good. I'm excited to talk with you today. So, for those of you that don't know Christina, she is my friend from Ohio, and Christina was a broker of a franchise. And you can definitely go into more details of that here in a
Sure.
minute.
Yep.
But this last year, she made a pretty huge life changing decision to step away from her broker position at that franchise and to build a business her way. And we met because she started to build her business. And I think you had already read a lot of the EOS books, right? The Rocket
Oh yeah.
Fuel.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So she had gone down that rabbit hole and had really set up her business that way. And through a mutual friend, Grant Wise, we talked about the micro team and how oh, okay, somewhat what you're doing right now is micro team concept. So I'm really excited to dive into this with you, all of the good, bad, and ugly of being a broker of a franchise and then changing your business. But let's first start with your history. So, Christina, you've been in the business for 20 years. Tell me what got you into the real estate business.
And I'm so sorry, but 1 second, I've got to have them turn this down because it's all I can hear.
Okay. Turn the fan down. Is that where my volume?
Okay, sorry.
Oh, you're shut your door. Okay.
I'm actually right outside of my door on a Zoom training, so it's super loud, and I was like, okay, all I can hear is that. So my apologies. But yeah, I've been licensed for 18 years. My background is actually accounting, so super fun stuff. That's what my degree is in. All kinds of CPA goodies, tax, audit, business planning, projections, helping small businesses with their issues and problems, helping medium-sized businesses kind of get to the next level. So that's kind of my background. And then real estate since '05. I don't know how that has happened, but I do have two boys. They're 20 and 23. My youngest actually just got his license within the last year, so that's been really cool. But I did have a Remax franchise for 5 years, and then I went independent for a year because that was always kind of my direction. When I went independent, I kind of felt like all I'm doing is paperwork. Um, all I'm doing is paperwork. So I'm not doing anything that I love. I'm not moving the needle on anyone's business. I'm not making an impact on anyone's life. I'm literally just doing paperwork. So I'm really, really good at systems, putting systems together. I did join another brokerage in March. So I'm now at, is it okay to say, or do you want to leave that out?
No, it's fine for you to say. I
Okay.
mean, we're in the same brokerage, so.
Okay. All right. So from independent, I actually switched and went to EXP in March because they take care of all the paperwork and all the stuff. So
Yep.
it then allowed me to focus on the things that I really like, and that's making an impact on others. So when I met Jessica, we were talking about the micro team stuff. It was like during our first conversation where we were talking about other things. I'm like, that's a really interesting concept because I'm trying to go from wherever the heck I'm at right now to, hey, I want to make an impact. The journey needs to be fun, needs to be fulfilling. How can I do that? How can I accomplish that? And I know that for me, like all the windshield time, driving around, showing houses to buyers, um, it's a little time consuming, and then it doesn't allow you to help people with, I think, more impactful things. So I was super interested in the micro team from that perspective. Like, what does that look like? Like, how would you pay that person? What would their role look like? So such a great alternative to, let's create this mega team of people and have them not doing calls and not doing this, and trying to get them out of their own way. Because
Yeah.
honestly, if we're all honest, agents actually don't like making phone calls. um, they Some of them don't like working with buyers. So it is kind of this mix of things, and that's why the micro team just seems like such a great hybrid between independent agent or running this mega team with mega problems.
Yeah, it definitely has been for me and a lot of the women that I've gotten to coach. But a couple of things that stood out. So you really had a lot of success in your own right with the accounting world, and doing the math, I'm thinking your kids were like 4, 5 in that ballpark. Is that right? Or maybe
Yeah.
even more. Or
Dylan would have been 5 and Preston was 3.
yeah. So
Mhm.
did your kids have anything to do with you getting into real estate full time?
Yeah, so originally, well, longer story short as I can make it, I bought my first house when I was 19 or 20, and, I totally relied on this guy. I would say his name, but, I totally relied on this guy to, like, I'm very independent. I don't want to go ask mom and dad, like, what's your opinion on everything? So I'm like, I'm going to buy this house myself. Well, I did. And it later, as I was a little older, I find out like, oh, oh my gosh, I should have done this, this, and this, and this. Why didn't he tell me? So it was also when the kids were really young and we started looking at selling the house, and I had these agents come out, and I'm like, I could do that. I could do a really good job, and I will have all of my time, and then I can be full-time mom. And so that's really where it started for me. Was the kids were young, and it was I actually, um when I the day I was supposed to go back to my job after Preston was born, I had a total nervous breakdown and quit. I didn't even tell my husband. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be in so much trouble when he gets home from work and sees I'm here. It was supposed to be my first day back. Why is she here?" And then I told him, like, "I can't do it. I can't take them." So, I then just stayed home, and I was like, "Okay, how can I make money that still allows me to be a mom and not take them to a babysitter?" That was really a big part of it,
And do
truly.
you think that real estate like helped you accomplish that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was absolutely something that, I know we get into it and we're like, "Oh, flexible. We can be flexible. I get all my time." That's not entirely true. I had to leave baseball games to go show a house and come back. But it definitely did allow me more flexibility than if I was working 40 hours for someone else instead of 60 hours for myself, right? I could at least do it. I went to the pool with them and I would work at the pool. I would, it's more of an integration of how can I be a mom and realtor, not either or.
It's like you
So
don't clock in, clock out from either one, really, with real
yeah,
estate.
you're always on the
Even
phone for both.
right, right. Even though that being said, I think he's probably learned a few tricks and techniques and, time blocking skills that if you could go back and tell your younger self with those little kids. And actually, that's probably a lot of the audience that we have right now. So here's your chance. What would you tell them that they could do differently?
Oh my gosh. Well, that would probably take some thought for me to think through, but I could probably come up with some really good things. Um, I will say a lot of in my mind, I used to compartmentalize this, like, I need work-life balance and it's separated, instead of just embracing the fact that it's not separate, it's all completely intertwined. Accepting that is probably number 1, and then saying, "Okay, while I'm doing this, I can also do this. How will that play out?" And, some things did just happen, like, I go to the pool, take them to the pool, and I'm like, "I gotta write an offer," so mom's sitting in the chair like, "Good job, guys. Yeah, I see ya. Good job." And, yeah, and I think I felt bad about it somehow. It was like, oh, I'm not being a good mom, or I'm not being a good agent, one or the other. And no, that's not the case. So I think if I had to go back, it would just be more patting myself on the back, like, Mom, you got up today, you showered, you came to the pool with your kids, and you are working. You have got it all figured out, girl. So kudos to you. Instead of, "Oh, I feel bad. I'm working and I should be." No, just living your best life and giving yourself a little more credit, I
I
think.
love that. That is so true and powerful. I think that there's probably some people that are watching right now that need to hear that. We should give ourselves a little bit more grace. There's really not one right way to parent. Like you said, your kids are fed, they're alive, they're healthy, right?
Yeah,
You're
did
doing a good job.
did anyone die? Did anyone get stitches today? No, they ate something. They got up. I got up. I showered. Like, that's a win in itself. That is
Yeah,
a win. And some days that's really, maybe just getting out of bed is the win. Some days, and allowing yourself more grace. And truly, I didn't. I wish I had. I didn't in the moment say to myself, like, look at you. You're doing a good job. You are momming like 100% here. You are momming this up, and you have a career. I didn't ever fully allow that in. I was just like, oh, I'm not 100% this, or I'm not 100% that.
I don't know if that's like a female trait, but I do hear that a lot from my
I
coaching
think so.
students. And like, right, I feel like that's how I've treated myself in the past too, of not owning accomplishments, not being proud, not being excited. Like that, I think sometimes also if you're raised in a religious background, also thinking like, oh, this is pride, this is shameful. Like I shouldn't feel
Mhm.
proud of myself.
Yeah.
I have had to do a lot of self work to get over that, and actually that has played into this micro team concept. And, I'm kind of wanting to marry the two, or kind of transition to that in our conversation here. But I had a hard time with being a normal broker owner, because I was a broker owner as well, boutique office like you, independent office. And I decided to move my team to Keller Williams first. And then I moved to EXP, but kind of same concept where you have this bigger umbrella that's taking care of the paperwork and compliance, and they have your back for E&O and all of that. And I loved that, because I, just like you, didn't want to do the compliance part, didn't want to do the paperwork part. I wanted to do what I loved,
Yeah.
right? But I still had that brokerage concept on my team, because now I was not a brokerage, I was a team. And so the agents that were with my brokerage still felt like they were with a brokerage. So that transition is really tough. And what I had the most hard time with was wanting success for my agents more than they wanted it for themselves.
Yeah. I
Do
think
you
we
have
talked
that?
I think we talked about that a little bit. Um, so this is something that I I don't know when or how I'm actually going to pull this off, but I did update my core values, which I think everybody should have: a mission, vision, core values. Like, I'm very EOS, like, you need to have all that stuff. And it shouldn't be just in your head. It should be on paper. So um, uh, one of my core values that I recently updated, that I'm trying so hard, it's almost like a wish for me than something that's actually happening. And it is, be there to help those who are actually ready for it. So many times it's, Christina, you can't want it for somebody more than they want it for themselves. And it's so easy when it's not you. Like, my husband lifts me up and says, like, "Oh, you don't see what I see." And that's so true for other agents. Like, if they could see themselves the way you as a team leader see them, and see their potential, and see, like, "Oh my gosh, like you are absolutely such a wonderful person. Like, wow, you really take care of people." Just, I think a lot of times people are so hard on themselves, and they don't see the amazing, like, oh my gosh, if you could see yourself the way I do, nothing could stop you. you would be so unstoppable. So it's hard when you have a team, when you have a brokerage, and you're surrounded by these amazing agents, moms, dads, whoever, that they're struggling, or they're not making the calls, and then they're not having the whatever it is. A lot of times they don't see that amazing spark within them. And so bringing that out in other people is difficult, but I can't want it more for them than they want it for themselves. And it's
Yeah.
hard. It's so hard, Jessica. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I don't know how exactly I'm gonna, like I said, this is my core value now. I'm like, yep, if there's someone to the boat, I'm gonna help them. If they're swimming away or they're just out there paddling, like I
Yeah,
gotta.
and it's I'm reading a book right now by Trevor Moawad, I think is how you say his last name. I think it's called Getting to Neutral. I just read another book that he wrote called It Takes What It Takes.
Okay.
Grant recommended it to me.
Okay.
And
All
it's
right.
all he's like the sports guy, so he was I don't know, an advisor, but it was mostly about like mental strength to these professional athletes. And I
Okay.
know nothing about sports, so it's really interesting because there he's like name dropping. I'm like, that's probably something really important, but I don't know who you're talking about. But I'm still getting the concept. So anyway, but he talks about I mean, I think there's a lot of mental health, right, needs and things
Mhm.
going on right now. And so when you're a leader and when you're running a team, being able to motivate and inspire, that's really important. But where I came to for my team was I basically said, I'm going to let you do what you're going to do. Right. I'm living in a place of less expectation of you as the agent, and less expectation of me. Now, that's for independent agents that are on my team. And I am a micro team. So with my micro team concept, I have positions that support me, and they are staff. So you think of the difference between a 1099 and a W-2. A W-2 employee, they come in, think of your own work history, right? You go in, you clock in, you have a job to do, and you do your job, and you clock out and you go home. And you're held accountable to do the tasks that's on your list to do, right? Whereas a 1099, yes, it's still work, it's still results based, but they don't get paid if they don't do the work. And in that way, yeah, you don't get paid if you don't do the work. But I think the mentality for the W-2 is I'm going to do the work because I'm clocking in. Does that make sense? So I have high expectations, and it's pretty cut and dry. It's not personality. It's not because I like you or I think you're funny. It's no, okay, here's exactly what you're supposed to do. Did you do it? No. Okay, we got to fix that.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a lot easier for me to hold my micro team positions accountable than it was for me to hold the agents accountable.
Yeah. Absolutely. I still have that with kind of the way we're set up is, and this is always evolving because I'm like, let's see, this isn't quite working the way I want it to. I'm going to make a change. And everyone's like, oh no, Christina's changing to something else. Yeah, get used to it. Welcome to real estate. So brokerage and then to EXP, now we're technically, a team. There's sort of that different expectations for different people. Like the people that are on the team that are on leads, it's like you do X, Y, and Z, or you don't get any leads. We're still going to do all your transaction management. We're still going to put up the sign for you. We're doing all your marketing. You don't have to worry about that. But are we giving you leads or not? If you can't handle them, if you don't want to call them, no, I'm not. And then there's other people that are what we call extended family now, where I'm really just like, they can use the office. I'm here for support. They can use our branding, etc. But I'm not holding them accountable to anything. Like if you, I don't know, want to make money, then go make money. I'm kind of the source of, I don't know, I guess here's some trainings that, EXP has or this or that, but I'm not, did you make your calls? Did you go on that
Right.
appointment? How did that go? So that is, I think part of allowing people to do what it is that they're going to do. And I think that's the hardest part of leadership is, I think, allowing people to do what they're going to do, even when you want to help them. And even when you are like, well, this is better. Let me help you. Like a lot of people are like, I don't care, mom. Like,
Right.
and I can mom it all the way. Like people at the brokerage, I can totally mom on them. Like, did you make your calls? Did you, like, yes, mom. Oh my gosh, I made my calls. Like, stop helicoptering or like.
Is that what your son, is that how your son feels on the team?
So funny enough, I just got him to join the team because he was like, I don't need my mom to tell me what to do. So he's just now like on the team. So that's really cool. And I do have to, same thing, like I give everybody space so that they can adult.
And I want to make sure everyone knows like there's an important distinction. So when we're saying we're going to let them do what they're going to do, we're talking about independent agents, right? And so the micro team concept is most of the production is under you. And I know you're not exactly doing this model right now, but most of the
Not
production
exactly,
is
but
under.
it's such a, like, I feel like I have a hybrid of it, right? Because
Okay.
like my admin is licensed, and she will go show houses for me, that kind of thing. So it is that, but it's just a hybrid of it. And I think that's the great thing is you can take this and either like XYZ exactly the way that you have it laid out, Jessica, or it is, I'm going to take these pieces and then I like these pieces and I'm going to smush this together to kind of make my own thing. And it's just from the first time you talked to me about it, I'm like, wow, that's really intriguing. That is really cool. I didn't even think of the other option of, holy cow, I don't want to wrangle all these people all day. And if I have these people on payroll and they have expectations and we're in agreement on these expectations and what needs done, that it actually is a lot more freeing to your life and you'll feel better also like, hey, things are kind of going well, where when people are just independent agents, they're independent agents. You can't,
Yeah.
they're not going to
Yeah.
do anything other than what they want to do.
A lot less stress, a lot less expectation. So on those independent agents, and then you're free and it's okay for you to own. This is my business. This is how I do things. Here's the positions. You mentioned changing things up. I had a meeting with my team today after probably 2 years of keeping things somewhat the same. We revisited everyone's position, and the main reason is because I have people growing. And so my marketing and my ISA position, she also sat at the front because I also have a physical location. So she was like my receptionist, I guess. And she was doing those other jobs. Well, she now wants a little bit more freedom and flexibility. She's also offering some services to other businesses. And I mean, she's not quitting my business. This is her, home. She's always going to be here, but it wasn't fair to her to make her be in the office 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, because she can do so much more in a different capacity. So we had to add a position to our team. And so now I'm like, okay, well, we're adding a position. So we're going to have to rework yours. And I basically went through everyone's this morning. But that's okay because it's my business. And they're okay with it because I know they work for me, right? I'm allowed to, as the business owner, to say, here's the job, here's the expectation, here's the comp. And if you think you're a good fit for it, I think you are, but if you think you are, then great. If you don't think you're a good fit for it, that's okay. We'll find someone else.
Yep.
And
That's such a great point. It's here's the groundwork, here's our expectations. Are you in or out? And either one is fine. But again, allowing.
Yeah, allow them to. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Christina. Allow them to do what they want to do, what they're going to do. Yeah,
Yep.
I love it. Well, this has been a really good conversation. Thank you for being on our show. I know that you also, now, do you have a podcast, Christina?
Yes. So I have all kinds of things going on kind of behind the scenes. And I don't know if anybody else has a list of 312 things that you're like, I need to do all these. So I have a podcast that actually is email opt-in to get the link, but I need to get my YouTube channel sorted out better. I've got some international team that I am working on getting some additional people hired to help with those things. Because again, then they're on payroll, and I have full control over it. But also internationally, you can get some great people for a little less cost.
So tell us about that opt-in podcast training. Like why would they want to join it? And then how can they join?
Sure. So ChristinaGentry.com is my website that leads to all kinds of other stuff. And on there, you can opt in to get the newsletter. We do send out a weekly newsletter. It's always something of value. So it could be downloadable, top 5 things to do to take your business to the next level. It's videos, just all kinds of valuable content that you can use for your business. And it's not just geared for individual agents. It's also for brokers or people that have a team.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Christina.
absolutely. Thank you, Jessica.
Bye.